Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. Today, we're diving straight into some breaking news, some pretty serious travel chaos unfolding right now at Heathrow Airport in London.
Yeah, this is much more than your average flight delay. We're working with some pretty raw, real-time information here, a breaking news report coming straight out of London. This is a disruption that's already sending shockwaves, well, pretty much everywhere.
Big time. So today, in this deep dive, we want to help you see past the headlines, right? Understand the core of what exactly happened, what it means right now for people traveling, and what this whole thing might reveal about, well, the state of global air travel as a whole.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's unpack what we know so far.
So at the root of it all with that, a pretty big fire that broke out earlier today. It started at an electrical substation in Hayes, that's a district in West London, and this fire has led to a power outage, a big one, that's basically crippled operations at Heathrow.
And the immediate consequence, well, Heathrow's been forced to just shut down completely. Closed up shop for the rest of the day until 11:59 p.m. GMT tonight, March 21st, 2025. When you think about all the flights going through there, it's huge.
It really is. The report states that roughly 1,350 flights scheduled for today are affected. Well, it's a massive number of people suddenly facing some pretty major wrenches in their travel plans.
And it's not just the flights set to depart from Heathrow either. This is where it gets really interesting and, well, really messy. Planes that were already up in the air, headed for Heathrow, they've had to be diverted. They're being rerouted to nearby airports like Gatwick, sure, but also to big European hubs like Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, even as far as Shannon Airport in Ireland.
And the transatlantic routes are, yeah, facing a particularly tough situation. Flights planned to leave from cities all over the U.S., they're being canceled outright. So for any of our listeners out there who might have been planning to fly in or out of Heathrow today, the most important thing you can do right now is get in touch with your airline, like right away. They're going to have the most up-to-the-minute information about your specific flight and can walk you through your options for rebooking.
Couldn't agree more. Get on that ASAP. And as if the flight situation wasn't bad enough, it doesn't stop there. All the ground transportation going to and from Heathrow. It's also a major state of disarray right now. Rail services connecting people to the airport, they've been suspended.
Yep, National Rail has officially confirmed that they've had to cancel key train services on those main lines. So even if you were thinking about trying to avoid the flight issues by hopping on a train to Heathrow, that's off the table for now. It just adds another layer of difficulty for anyone trying to get to or away from the airport area.
It's looking like a real logjam. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what's happening on the ground. Sounds like the emergency crews have a pretty intense situation on their hands.
Oh, absolutely. The London Fire Brigade has launched a massive operation, sending out around 70 firefighters and 10 fire engines to fight that blaze at the electrical substation. I mean, that kind of response really shows you how serious and how big this fire is.
And it goes beyond just the airport infrastructure itself, right? It's impacting the local community too.
You bet. Around 150 people have been evacuated from the area right around the fire, and they've set up a 200-meter safety cordon. That's standard procedure, of course, to make sure everyone's safe, both the public and the emergency responders. But on top of that, this power outage isn't limited to the airport. It's affecting residential areas nearby, too, and the reports are saying that over 16,000 homes are without power right now.
Wow, that really gives you a sense of just how widespread this incident is. And there are specific instructions being given to the people who live nearby, aren't there?
Right. Because there's so much smoke coming from this fire, local residents are being told to keep their windows and doors shut. Just a precaution, really, to avoid any breathing problems. And for anyone thinking of heading over to Heathrow to try and sort out their travel plans in person, the message is crystal clear. Don't even try to go to the airport until things are officially back to normal. You're probably just going to run into even more traffic and delays.
So everything's at a standstill, at least for the rest of today. Now, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture here. Heathrow isn't just some small regional airport. It's a major global hub.
Exactly. You're talking about an airport that handles around 1,300 flight departures and arrivals every single day. That kind of volume tells you just how important it is to the international aviation network. So when a place like Heathrow shuts down entirely, the impact isn't just felt locally, it's a ripple effect across the entire global air travel system.
It's like a main artery suddenly getting blocked. What kind of knock-on effects are we likely to see around the world?
Well, every airline with flights scheduled through Heathrow is facing a logistical nightmare right now. They have to figure out what to do with all these planes stranded at other airports, how to reschedule flight crews who are now in the wrong places. This level of disruption, it's almost guaranteed to lead to more delays and cancellations over the next few days. And that could affect people who weren't even planning on flying through Heathrow at all. Think about connecting flights, for instance.
They even quoted a travel industry expert in the news report describing this as a logistical nightmare with worldwide ripple effects. That really drives home the potential for long-term consequences.
It does. And if we connect this back to a bigger theme, this event really exposes how vulnerable our critical infrastructure is. One incident at a single point, even a really important one like this electrical substation, can bring a major international airport and everything connected to it to a screeching halt. It underscores just how interconnected and potentially fragile these intricate systems are. You could even think about the effects on cargo and global trade, which relies so heavily on air transport.
It makes you think, that's for sure. So what's the very latest update, and what should our listeners be doing right now?
Well, Heathrow's management has been putting out statements saying they'll provide updates as they have them, especially about when they might get power back. So things are still developing, and the advice, again, is to keep in close touch with your airline. They'll have the most accurate, most personalized information about your particular flight. And keep an eye on Heathrow Airport's official channels, too, for any big announcements about when they might reopen.
So to sum it all up, what's the main takeaway from our deep dive into this Heathrow disruption?
The bottom line is this. A major power outage caused by this big fire at a crucial electrical substation has forced Heathrow Airport to completely shut down, effective immediately. It's causing massive disruption to air travel worldwide, impacting tons of passengers, and it's very likely that this will have a domino effect on flight schedules and airline logistics for several days to come.
It's a lot to process. This whole situation at Heathrow really puts a spotlight on how complex and interconnected our global transportation systems are, and as you mentioned, how fragile they can be. It makes you wonder what other essential systems that we rely on every day might be vulnerable to unexpected disruptions like this.
It's a question worth thinking about, definitely.
Thanks for joining us today on the Deep Dive. We'll keep you updated on this story as it develops.
Until next